This is truly news. Found out that it was the Edmund Fitzgerald 26,000 tons more than it weighed empty.
Mm-hmm.
Neener boo boo. Since we know stuff like that, we're obviously geniuses. So to like, subscribe, and follow two geniuses, couldn't do it.
Is really what you want to do.
Yeah, so like, subscribe, and follow This Is Truly News so that you don't miss out on these two great intellects right here. Yeah, that's my thought too. Is there such a thing as false advertising on the interweb?
This is True, Really News with Scott Combs and Tony Vercanis. All the news you're about to hear is true,
Really?
as far as you know.
If there is such a thing as false advertising on the internet, our politicians are in deep trouble.
Oh boy.
George Genai bought a storage unit in Seattle, hoping to sell its contents online. Now, you've seen Storage Wars and some of the other stuff that goes on out there. I've even looked into, what it takes to go ahead and get involved in that bidding.
Yeah.
It's a real pain in the butt.
It takes time.
Yep.
If you're really good at it, you'll make money at it.
Oh,
you may
absolutely.
not be rich,
Yeah, but you'll make good money.
but if you're good at it, you can make decent money.
Yep.
The trouble is, it's going to take up all your time.
However, when a good old George opened the container after purchasing it in 1992,
What did, as they say in German, Georg find?
the remains of a murdered family.
Well, that's a fine how do you do.
George was curious about it and left because it was left untouched for a number of years, despite its owner continuing to pay the rent. So once he purchased it, he began rooting around the container in the hope to find some forgotten goods that he could sell. But he soon noticed a rather bad smell coming from a heap of black bin bags. George discovered a human skull in one of the bin bags.
I didn't think it was going to get better.
Good news is, he says, I was in Vietnam. I've seen this before. George discovered a human skull in one of the bin bags and alerted police of his findings. After a thorough, I say, investigation, experts identified the bodies of 36-year-old Barbara Bender and her two sons who had been missing for 12 years.
Oh, man.
When police entered the storage unit, they also found a hatchet with blood and hair on it. Prior to her death, Barbara had filed for divorce from her husband and was last seen loading her belongings into a van. The police investigation soon began to point at, guess who?
The husband?
Yes, Barbara's ex-husband, Mark, who was
How could
the
that have
person.
happened?
He was the person who had initially rented the storage unit. He's a smart
Well.
criminal.
Curiouser and curiouser.
Mark admitted to the murders and received 3 life sentences for the 3 counts of first-degree murder. His new wife basically had suspended payments to it because he never went there, figuring he could live without it. Now he's sentenced to 80 years in prison.
Man, he can live without it. Just one word of soap on a rope, dude. The Cowboy State Daily reported on... Okay, here's your trivia for the day. What do you suppose the Cowboy State Daily...
I'd put it in Texas.
So would I. It's not. It's in Wyoming. Vern and...
well, that makes sense, too.
I would have 3
Yeah.
guesses,
Yeah.
and that would be one of them. Vern and Shireen Liebel are hoping to make a move to Wyoming with one very particular criterion dictating which city they choose. What do you suppose would be the make it or break it? To move to a city, what would be the make it or break it for you?
My wife agreeing.
See, that's a biggie for me.
Yeah.
That's why I'm still
Minnesota
here in
girls
this.
don't move.
They don't. What the hell were we thinking? Because there are places warmer than this.
There are.
And all I keep thinking of is my ancestors were idiots. Look, Gertrude, the same weather we just left. Let's stay here.
More precisely, Gertrude.
Gertrude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And?
Oh, sorry. I was just bemoaning I was taking all of my ancestors' names all the way down to my parents and now my wife and children and their children. Nobody wants to leave this godforsaken place. Anyway, Vern and Shireen, the Liebels, They have been traversing Wyoming. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Their criterion?
Yeah.
Public library.
Okay.
They have been traversing Wyoming, visiting libraries for 3.5 months, hoping to see each one the state has to offer. There have been a few standouts, if you're wondering. They report that in Glen Rock, Vern wrote, they have, along the way, skylights up there. And it's like blonde wood, and it just feels so light and airy.
What about the contents?
Kind of want to introduce him to the Big Hurt and maybe give him some pills. He also loved the name of the library in Ranchester. Ranchester. Oh, God. Didn't he work for Jack Benny?
No, that was Rochester.
See, that's a name that makes sense to me. He loved the name of the library in Ranchester, the Tongue River Library. I don't know.
Can we get back to the contents? I mean, do they care about the books?
His infatuation with libraries also extends to bookstores.
The decor is what I'm hearing.
I don't know. I think that one of the finest smells in the world is to go into an old bookstore. And I got to tell you, he's right on that one.
Oh,
there is something about reading something on the computer, which is fine. It's perfectly fine. But if I can actually have the book in my hands and hold it, and you don't notice it until you're not doing it, but there's a fragrance to every book you open.
Oh, yes, there is. Yeah.
Oh,
I absolutely.
The turning of the pages.
I just don't care.
When you buy a used book and you take the name of the previous owner in vain for dog-earing pages, what the hell were you thinking?
Well, they were reading it in the bathroom, so they had to do it in stints.
Use a bookmark. You got a Post-it note, they'll work.
Got a business card?
Anyway, to this point, they haven't.
One sheet of toilet paper would do it.
They haven't. See? You work with a toothbrush in a hurry, right? Just put the toothbrush in there. But whatever you do is don't slam it shut because you could break the binding. Yeah. By the way, bindings are so rickety cheap. Unless come on. You're putting a book together. Let's make it stay a little longer than when you open it.
Man.
They still haven't picked a town, by the way.
Okay. Well, good for them.
Yeah. They probably dog ear books. I can just see them.
Text messages gone wrong. Well, text messages.
See? Now, if text messages were actually on paper, they'd be so much better. Of course, then we'd call them letters. But yeah.
And I don't think you're going to do a letter on this first one. Where are you? I screwed up. Oh. I didn't go to Indiana.
Okay.
Where'd you go? India.
Close. Oh, so close.
Just tell me you don't love me. Hi, is this Paul? Who is this? This is Erica from the dentist's office. I got your number from your file. Pretty sure this violates HIPAA. Well, that would be HIPAA, Jack. But shoot your shot, I guess. Well, I'm not flirting with you. We have you on video stealing thousands of dollars of x-ray equipment.
So there's that then.
If you bring it back and never come back, we won't say a word. What are you
Otherwise,
doing?
You'll look out your window and there'll be policemen.
What are you doing? Laying in bed? Just laying in bed? Nothing else? I'm eating cereal. Nice. What would you do if I was in bed next to you? Eat my cereal. I mean, if the cereal wasn't there, I'd get out of bed and go get cereal.
Come on. Read the room.
It's not going to get better.
He wants the cereal. Damn it.
And you know that's not a girl's.
No, that's a guy.
That's a guy thing.
Yeah.
Off to you.
Amanda Ramirez of Hialeah, Florida. Hialeah, by the way, is one of my favorite city names.
Hialeah.
It just rolls off your tongue. I mean, it's much hell, Michigan. Well, it's in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit was already taken. File this one under Jeff Banks, 100 years old, of Devon, England.
Good on you, buddy.
And Celeste Byrne, She's 100 years old of Texas.
Oh, happy
Have a
birthday.
rather unique bond.
Oh, happy
Have
birthday.
a rather unique bond.
Well, it's a long distance thing.
It is. They've been pen pals since 1938, according to a BBC story.
Seriously.
Their friendship blossomed when they were in their 20s, and an educational project put them in touch with one another. Since then, they've kept up with technology, switching to emails, video calls. They actually met in person back in 2002. Banks calls Byrne a very interesting person. We exchange stories, and she's very good to talk to. Byrne shuts down any suggestion of romance over the years. There wasn't globally stuff. It was just normal neighbor people. Good on you.
This is true, really news. Send email to TITR@netradio.network.